Hi, my name is Dwayne McHenry with the Wasilla chapter of Project Healing Waters. We've teamed with the Alaska Department of Fish and Game here to bring you some flies to tie, and today we're going to be working on the Crackleback. So we have the materials here spread out for the Crackleback. First we'll start with our thread. We have an 8/0 olive. It matches the turkey quill I'm using. We have the dry fly hook in a size 12. Again, if you're using it for catch and release fishing, strongly recommend you crimp your barb down or use a barbless hook. This happens to be a barbed hook. We have your peacock herl. This is on the stem. You can also use a prepackaged. And lastly, a saddle hackle in a size 12 measured out will complete your fly. For the Crackleback, I mentioned that we're using a turkey round to build the body of this. So you can see there's a number of colors available, and I've tied them all. Personally like the caddis green a lot and the olive. You can use also for the body of the fly, you can use dubbing, you can use tinsel. There's a flash Crackleback pattern out there that uses tinsel for the body. So you can use pretty much anything to build the body on this fly. I do like the turkey rounds because they give you a little bit of the color of a natural insect, and just wanted to make you aware of all that. Of course, if you're fishing catch and release, highly recommend that you either crimp the barb or use a barbless hook. This happens to be a mustad hook that is a barbed hook. So the first thing we're going to tie on is the last thing we're going to wrap, and that's your hackle. This is a pre-sized piece of saddle hackle that's a Metz micro barb at a size 12, because that's the size we're tying here. Crackleback's been a really effective pattern for us. We had really good success working with it up at Tangle Lakes and caught a good number of fish on it. It really floats really high. The nice thing about a Crackleback is also if it does get waterlogged and sinks, it looks like a nymph, so the fish will even bite it subsurface. The next material we're going to tie here is our peacock herl. I usually use 3 strands of peacock when we do this. So we'll just wrap those on, get them on there good and tight, and wrap forward over top of those. A little extra thread on the base doesn't hurt anything here. And it's, like I said, it just adds to the top of the fly that goes on the topping, kind of like a topping on the fly. The other thing we're using here is a turkey round. It's kind of like a biot, but it's a lot longer. I cut 5 to 6 strands of this on a size 12 because, again, you're trying to build that body up a little bit. One hint when working with turkey rounds, the tips tend to be a little brittle. So cut, maybe an 1/8 to a 1/4 inch off before you tie it in, and it'll hopefully help you tie it on and keep it on your fly a little bit better. So we're going to wrap that back to where all the other material is, and we're going to wrap our thread forward all the way to the front. And I'm going to do a half hitch because we're going to be using the rotary function on the vise, and so I don't want that thread to get in the way. So the first thing we're going to do is wrap in the turkey, and we're just going to slowly work it forward, obviously being careful to avoid the barb of the hook because it will break the material. And so we're just going to wrap that forward nice and easy. We're going to try and build up a nice even body on this. As we get to the eye, we're going to stop. I usually use my finger like that, and then I let the self-retracting bobbin come around, and then I'll do 3 wraps at least around my turkey, and then I'll cut that off. One thing you can see on this one, right here, we have a little piece of that quill that broke, so I'm just going to trim that off. It's not going to hurt anything, and we're going to wrap that hackle around that to tie that down also. So then you just lift over the top with your peacock. I usually do 2 loose ties, and I kind of give it a little tug to make sure it's tight underneath there, and then I'll tie it down with a couple more wraps. And that makes it nice and tight. Cut it off kind of with the angle of the eye of the hook. And remember, one trick is if you get a little bit too much jammed up on the front of your hook, you can always take your fingernails right around that eye. So I'm going to tie another half hitch here. The fly will, like I said, that way I can use the rotary function. And I'm going to take and try to get my hand out of the way here, and I'm going to wrap this forward so that I can use my rotary function on my vise. And so now we're just going to wrap peacock or the hackle forward, sorry, and we're going to do about 5 to 6 turns of hackle, and we're going to trim, or we're going to wrap this again 3 times, nice and tight, so that we can. You saw it kind of loosen up on me there, so I'm going to try and pull a little tighter then to get that good 3 wraps. 2, maybe 1 in front. Go behind it 1 more time. A lot of times when you're tying, you can just use your scissors, especially if you got a sharp set, and just run that along that hackle quill, or like I'm doing here, just be careful and get in there and just trim that, break that quill. So now you see I do have some strands sticking forward. There's a couple ways to do that. You can kind of, like I say, get in here and use your fingers and pinch it down a little bit and push it back, or you just take your fingers and carefully pull the hackle back. Most of those taken care of. Again, I'm going to pinch that a little bit to try and get the, I'm going to grab my whip finisher and finish this fly off here. So whip finisher is a really easy tool if you learn how to use it. Don't be intimidated by it. There's plenty of good videos out there on YouTube and things like that. That in essence is the Crackleback. I usually use a little dab of finishing cement on the head to kind of lock it all in place, and that's it. A good high floating fly, great grayling fly, good for rainbow trout, and again, you can fish it subsurface, you can fish it on top, put a little floating on it, it'll float all day for you. And that's the end of the Crackleback. Thank you for watching. Again, if anyone's out there and is a veteran, that's disabled veterans, if you're interested in Project Healing Waters, you can check us out on Facebook at PHW Alaska, or Project Healing Waters Alaska. Also, we do have chapters here in Anchorage. We have Wasilla, which is the group I'm with, and we also have a group up in Fairbanks. So again, check us out online. Have fun fishing in Alaska. It's a great place with a lot of great opportunities to get out there and fly fish. And hope you enjoyed the video. Have a great day.